Konnichiwa, my Otakus, I'm Gimme Otaku, and welcome back to another Smite God Guide. So today we are going to be going over Chiron. Chiron's passive is Herbal Medicine. Every time Chiron uses an ability, he consumes one poultice that heals himself or an ally god based on who has the lowest health. Chiron gets a maximum of 3 poultices and he gains 1 every 12 seconds. Chiron's first ability is Training Exercise. This is an AoE ability that deals damage to all enemies within the radius. If an enemy is hit by this ability, they will be marked with a target. Chiron's second ability is Masterful Shot. Chiron marks an enemy when he hits basic attacks. When his ability is cast, he will deal damage and slow any and all marked targets. Chiron's third ability is Giddy Up. This is a dash ability that deals damage and knocks up all enemies hit. Chiron can also basic attack while dashing in this ability. Chiron's ultimate is Centaurus. This is a line ability where Chiron can fire 3 long-distance shots. If Chiron loses all his health during this ability, he will not die until this ability is over. However, if he does kill an enemy god while using this ability and still has no health, he will regain health equal to the damage dealt. This ability will also mark any enemy's hit. Alright, so Chiron's combo is actually really simple. There's really just only one, and it's his main source of wave clear, but it can also just deal a bunch of damage to get the job done. So all it is you just hit them with the 1, and you boop them with the 2. So we're gonna actually take that on over to the wave to show you just how good it is against, you know how good it is to actually wave clear. So like I said, you just kind of boop the 1 and then boop the 2. Now you're supposed to usually hit the entire wave, but you know, I'm bad at this game. But anyways, yeah, that is pretty much just the entire combo. None of the other abilities are really relevant to the combo at all. Like, I guess if they survive that and you have your ultimate and they're really low health, you could just, you know, kill them like that. But that's about it. But we're going to jump on over to the pros and cons. Alright, so Chiron has a lot of pros and very few cons. However, if I do miss any pros or cons, feel free to comment down below anything I've missed. But Chiron's first pro is the fact that he has healing. It's not a very significant heal come late game, but in the early and kind of in the mid game, it is very helpful. The only problem with it is it does just go on the person with the lowest health. So if you don't have the lowest health, it's not going to go on you. But it is nice if you want to try and save your support or save a teammate in general from utter demise and dying. Second is he does have the slow on his 2, or as I'm going to call it, as you can see at the bottom, it's an aimbot. You cannot miss this ability unless they die before it hits them. So there's just no way of missing it, which is kind of funny since it's called Masterful Shot and you can't miss it. So it's like, okay. But also, Chiron does have good wave clear. The 1-2 combo, as I showed in the combos, is just phenomenal. I cannot word. It does really well. You just hit the entire wave with the 1, hit him with the 2, and most of the minions should be almost dead. The big guy doesn't ever seem to die to it though. And then his ult resurrects him. However, this does require you to get a kill before the ability ends. But if you do die in your ultimate, get a kill and you're resurrected. You don't go anywhere. So it is very nice. Again, if I missed any, feel free to comment below what I've missed. But we're going to just jump on over to his cons. His cons is basically just surrounded around his auto attacks or his basic attacks. Pretty much, he has one of the shortest auto ranges in the game. He doesn't have to be like super close, but most of the hunters can shoot a lot farther than he can. So that is kind of a cripple on his potential. But then also the projectiles on his basics move really slow. So not only does he have to be a little closer than most hunters, but he also has to lead the shot a little bit more because his autos move really slow. So again, these are all the cons I could think of. If I missed any, do comment down below. So we are going to jump on over to the order of the abilities. Alright, so I usually go at this at a conquest standpoint. So for you conquest mains out there, if you disagree with me, feel free to criticize down below. But I usually will go into my first ability first. So I'll go into the 1 and then the 2, then the 3. So that way you have your wave clear by level 2, and due to the fact that the red buff is the start right now, you go red buff, then into wave, you will be level 2 when you hit the first wave. So you should have your wave clear by then. Then I will put another point at level 4 into my 1. So that way the heal is pretty nice up until about mid game. But then you obviously get your ult at level 5. And then from there, just in my opinion, put all your points in gear 2. That's going to be your main source of like kill secures and all that. But if you want to go all points into your first ability, that's perfectly fine. It just depends on what you want to do. I personally go into my 2. So then you max your 2, then max your 1, max your 3, and then max your ultimate. That is pretty much it. Again, if you want to switch the 1 and the 2 into the order, that is fine. Go right ahead. You don't have to go my way. It's just a recommendation. But we're going to jump on over to the build. Alright, so we're going to go over Chiron's build, and I'm going to be honest here, I am not a Hunter main. Hunter is one of my weakest roles right above solo lane, so right above warriors. So do not rage at me if I do not follow the build that you would build a Hunter. This is what works for me. I've mentioned this millions of times, but this is not a you need to build thing in any god guide. It is a recommendation, and hopefully something you'll evolve into something that's way better if you do become a Hunter main, or something that just works for your playstyle. This is what works for me, and so that's what I'm going to show you guys. Now, I usually have a bunch of situational items here, but for Hunters, in my opinion, there's infinite possibilities on how to build a Hunter. Depending on the Hunter, it can be ability based, it can be auto based, you can go kins, if you can go crit. In my opinion, if you go kins, don't go crit, but that's just my opinion. But anyways, we're just gonna jump right into it. Now, I've been seeing a lot of Death's Toll and Boombas in the meta as of late, or Bluestone and Boombas, depending on what Hunter you're playing and how you're gonna build them. Just mainly because the red buff start is a thing again. And then Warrior Tabby is what I would go into. Devour Gauntlets I like is that early game lifesteal, but also it does give quite a bit of power now due to the buff that it recently got. I like Oboe. That's just kind of a me thing. I realize it's a good item, but also not the best item. Ikavol's still pretty good, but whatever. I prefer Oboe just because the attack speed and then just the kind of poke it gives off. But then Executioner, just get that early game pen on to any enemy god you're hitting. And then Titan's Bane, I realize most people will be like, don't build Eggsy Bane, just don't build it. But Titan's Bane is meant for the structures, Executioner is meant for the enemy gods, but these two together, your first basic attack on an enemy god is going to hit like a fucking brick wall. And then Deathbringer. Now we're gonna jump into items that I would recommend to switch out or whatever. Aussie, I know is a really good lifesteal item, but if you're gonna get this, I wouldn't recommend getting Devourer's Gauntlet. But then also Toxic Blade, if they have healing, that's a good anti-heal item. This is mainly for like Chiron here. I'm not just speaking for all Hunters here. This is for Chiron. But Toxic Blade, for just to get rid of any healing that the enemy team is possibly doing. Again, Aussie to switch out for Devourer's Gauntlets. You can get both. Again, I wouldn't really recommend it, but you can get both. And like I said, if you're going to build kins, then don't build crit, in my opinion, but it's completely up to you. But if you are going to build crits, then I would definitely recommend Deathbringer because it's the best crit item in the game. And if you want, Rage is pretty good, but I couldn't find a place for it in my build. I know Shifter Shield is still kind of a thing in the Hunter meta because its passive is just really good. Bloodforge, another good item, has a lot of power, so it's just a great power scaling. But also the lifesteal is pretty good. So, and then, you know, you get your passive. Transcendence, not really in the meta, but it's still a decent item if you feel like you're just running out of mana. It gives a lot of power. So again, there's just infinite possibilities on how to build a Hunter, and infinite possibilities on how to build Chiron. It's whatever works for you, but we are just, yeah, that's about it. So anyways, thanks for watching, everybody. Don't forget to leave a like and or subscribe for your senpai, and comment below what god I should do next for the next god guide, and I will see you Rotakus in the next video. See ya!